This is Scenic Roots. I'm Ray Bassett. Thanks for joining us. What began 7 years ago as a one-day festival to commemorate Juneteenth here in Chattanooga, at the time the only event of its kind in this city, is now a year-long series of festivals that celebrates the Black experience across the arts. The series begins Friday with the Black Wall Street RBG Ball, starting at 6 p.m. at the Mack Avenue event space at 1304 Macaulay Avenue. Rick Morris is founder and CEO of the Chattanooga Festivals of Black Arts and Ideas. Rick, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Ray.
A lot happening in August from the festivals. Let's start with what's happening on Friday.
This is the beginning of our first full season for the festival series. And so we're kicking it off with the Chattanooga Black Wall Street Society's RBG Ball. We've renamed it because we're really going to be concentrating on Black businesses and philanthropy, because August is also Black Philanthropy Month. So at the ball on August 1st, it'll start at 6 o'clock, we will have Miss Nishawn Calloway as Miss Bessie Smith, because we're honoring the Black Wall Street, which was around the 1900 turn of the century, like 1900s, 1920. And so she's going to be there doing Bessie Smith to perform some of the interesting music for that. And then we have about 50 people on the roster for the Black Wall Street Society. And that was a program that we developed for fund development, where we're asking these businesses to support the festival, but to also just support any Black artwork that's happening in Chattanooga. Because while you may be a Black business, you don't always think about the philanthropy end of that. And so we really are encouraging businesses to start to think about and to plan for their opportunities to support the arts.
Where and when is this on Friday?
Mack Avenue on Macaulay Avenue, and it'll start at 6 o'clock with the cocktail section, and then that's where Nishawn will be singing. And then at 7 o'clock, we are bringing back Chef Kenyatta as the preparer for an incredible gourmet meal like he's done for the last 4 years. So that will happen at 7. And then at 8 o'clock, we're doing a very special ceremony where we are pinning those members of the Black Wall Street Society. We've developed a logo and a lapel pin for them to get that. So we're really excited about being able to have this opportunity with them.
And then on Friday, August 15th and Saturday, August 16th, we have something new called Indaba.
Indaba is a Zulu word which means important meeting. And this was something that the men of the village would do periodically when they needed to discuss something that was really key to the survival or to the running of the village. And for us, it's exactly the same thing. Indaba is an opportunity for us to bring together Black artists here in Chattanooga to talk about how would it be if we were working together to be a more united front, but to also share in some of the activities that we do as artists and the education. If you think of everybody has something that they can offer, you put all of those things in a bucket, we're going to be a lot better than if everyone's trying to do it on their own. So Indaba is the beginning of this discussion and conversation. I've invited lots of Black leaders of Black arts organizations, and of course it's open to any Black artist that wants to come to this event. I'm calling it the first Black Arts Conference. But from now on, it'll be known as Indaba. So Indaba is also going to be part of a new initiative that the Black Arts and Ideas Festivals is having, which is called BAND, B-A-N-D. There's a whole lot of different meanings for the word band. In this case, we're bringing together the Black artists here in Chattanooga and surrounding areas. Black Artist Network and Directory. We're creating on our website a directory that will list any Black artist who wants to be listed there. They will be divided by genre, so music, dance, literature, and then we'll also have a tech section. So if you're a designer or you are a technician in terms of music and sound, lights, then you'll get listed on that as well. To provide an opportunity not only for Black artists to collaborate and find people that they might need, but for the community. If you're looking to hire a Black artist, this is going to be the place where you can go to find them.
And then talk more about what's happening during Indaba on the 15th and the 16th.
So we're starting the conference out with Indaba on that 15th with a screening. They're having a screening at the Walker Theater, and we have invited the members, people that may be coming to the conference, to do this. Also a show of unity. The screening is actually being presented by Culture Company and Museum in partnership with Chattanooga City to do the screening of 6888, which, as you know, is a movie that came out last year about women in the military. So we're inviting our attendees to the conference to go in and really help patronize that particular event. And then on Saturday, we'll be bringing together when the real conference will happen. We have Dr. Michael Williams from UTC, who is a professor of Black Studies and Africana Studies. And he's going to come and talk about who we are. Because I think part of what's missing in this whole scenario is we don't really know. We talk about how we have Black History Month, but it's always around slavery. And that we talk about ourselves as being descendants of slavery. But the reality is we were the first humans on the planet. And so I really want to try and use that definitely as a way to bring us together, but also as a sense of pride, so we can understand who we are and where our place is on this planet. And so with that information, it's a whole different attitude that you have when you think, oh my gosh, I'm a descendant of the first humans on the planet, as opposed to just, and I say just, but instead of just thinking about our time, the 400 years here in America.
And then where and when for the conference on Saturday the 16th?
Yeah. So Indaba will be at the Howard School. Obviously, the screening will be at the Memorial Auditorium and the Walker Theater. But the actual meat of the conference will be at Howard starting at 10 o'clock in the morning, and we'll go until about 4 with a lunch break. It's free at this point. We just want people to come and participate. We want to hear feedback about what you anticipate the band being like. What will it take to bring us together, to unify us as an organization, as a group, as a community here in Chattanooga.
And then there is the James Baldwin Festival of Words.
Well, when we said this was the kickoff of the season, we wanted to kick it off fully, so the whole month of August is working. Yes, so the James Baldwin Festival will be on the 23rd of August. It's a single day this time, but a really different focus, and this is playing off of what we did for Juneteenth. We had Juneteenth. So we really are taking the festivals and some of the ideas and really focusing on the youth. So they're really taking a great focus on the young people in Chattanooga and seeing how we can help with literacy when it comes to that. There are a lot of gaps there, and we want to see what we can do as a community to fill the gaps of those students who are having challenges when it comes to literacy.
And we'll be talking more about that with the one and only Marcia Mills.
Yes, Marcia is the director of the James Baldwin Festival, and she is incredible. So I'm not going to steal any of her thunder because she has planned this.
Nobody can.
No, you really can't. So we're going to let you know more about that. But please go to our website, which is blackartsandideasfest.com, and you will see the full listing of what's happening. And you can also see the full season because, like I said, we're starting in August, and every other month we'll be producing a festival. And it's 7 different festivals, and then we'll have these different programs from bi-monthly meetings with the band, which is the Black Artists Network, to do some professional development, and we'll have other activities for the community as well. So we're really excited. This is the first time to kick off this season, and I've kicked it off with a bang. So I'm happy about that. So we really need the participation of the entire community. Even though a lot is centered around the Black community, it is something that everyone can participate. You can come to the Black Wall Street Ball. You can come to any of the events that we have. Is open to the public, the entire public.
All right, Rick, thanks so much.
Thank you, Ray.
Here in Chattanooga, Splash Youth Arts Workshop provides free arts workshops year-round for youth in the city's underserved communities. On Saturday, August 16th, Splash's Summer Arts Festival, a free family-friendly event outdoors, returns to Miller Park from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. I spoke with Charlie Newton, who co-founded Splash with his wife and fellow artist, Iantha. Charlie, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Tell us more about the Splash Summer Youth Arts Festival.
It's an annual festival. This is our 6th year. The festival is August 16th at Miller Park. It is a youth festival for kids. It's an arts festival. So there will be many artist vendors, including artists and arts organizations that's going to be either demonstrating or performing or displaying their artworks.
And how does this carry forward what Splash Youth Arts Workshop does year-round?
We have year-round art classes, free art classes for kids. Also, we do art classes for seniors as well. This is our only fundraiser, actually. But it's also an opportunity for our city to come and celebrate the youth and to bring the kids out to enjoy a fun day in the park.
And I've seen online some work by students of Splash
Yes.
on display in our community.
Yes. Presently, we have an exhibition up at City Hall. We also have an exhibition up at CHI Memorial. And so on that day, August 16th, at the festival, we will have our young artist works for sale. Our youngest artist right now is 3 years old, and our oldest is 16. So when we sell a work of art, of course, the family gets half of the money, and half goes back into our nonprofit. Splash is a 501c3 nonprofit organization.
And talk more about these young artists and what they've created and how they've created it.
Since we started 16 years ago, I like to say that Splash is saving lives. So we're giving kids a place to go, a place to be, a safe place where they can be creative. We believe that all kids deserve the right to express themselves and be creative and develop their minds. And it's a very important program to us. I believe all kids of all ages need art. And so, we've just been doing this, and we've had a great response over the years.
And over the years, as you and your wife, Iantha, have worked with these young artists, how has that inspired each of you as artists?
That's a great question. I've learned a lot from the kids because we was looking at, this past week, we was looking at some of the work from our 3 and 4 year olds. They're going to have some work in the festival as well. We were saying that, hey, we want to do this type of work because they are free. They don't have all the baggage sometimes that adults have. So we're learning from them. And I think they're keeping me young, actually. And I just love being around them and teaching them, and it's just a great time for all.
And talk more about who else will be there.
Let me not forget our sponsors. First Horizon Bank, Benwood Foundation, River City, Dr. Robert Clark, Chick-fil-A, Chambliss, Bonner Stofel, LDG Development out of Nashville, the Community Foundation, Kingdom Partners, and Tennessee American Water Company are our sponsors. But we're also going to have performances by Chattanooga Girls Choir, the Chattanooga Boys Choir, CCA Brass Band, and another group from CCA. They're called Choo Choo Kids. And the Pop-Up Project is going to perform. They're going to have actually 2 performances. They're going to have a youth performance, and some of their professionals are going to perform as well.
While it's a fundraiser, it's also open to the public. Talk about that.
It's free to the public. Family friendly. It's for families, and we're hoping that parents would bring their kids out and just have a fun day in the park. There's going to be plenty of food and everything, and lots of activities for kids to do, hands-on activities and demonstrations as well.
Saturday, August 16th in downtown Chattanooga. Charlie, if people want to learn more about it and keep up on everything at Splash, where can they go online?
They can go online at splashyoutheartsworkshop.org. That's splashyoutheartsworkshop.org.
All right, Charlie, thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
In contemporary art, comics, cartoons, and illustrations can express what other creative forms may struggle to convey. That's the focus of Illustrating a Point, an exhibit at Stoveworks here in Chattanooga, opening Friday with a reception starting at 6 p.m. Mark Bradley Shoup curated the exhibition. Will Sutton and Jules Jackson are 2 of the artists whose works are part of Illustrating a Point. Mark, Jules, Will, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Tell us more about this exhibition.
This exhibition, titled Illustrating a Point, has been something I've been playing with for many, many years. It is connected with my love of animation and illustration. And so I've curated a bunch of artists, ranging from beginning career artists to mid-level artists to very cemented artists from all over the country. Illustrating a Point is an attempt to chronicle this growing trend by creating artists who employ a more playful and illustrative approach to image making and cover subject matter ranging from environmental degradation, social injustice, racial inequality, body image, absurdity, and playfulness. The illustrated image ventures towards iconic over realistic and aims for universal over specific, and I do think this show is greatly needed in this crazy time that we're living in.
How did you come up with this idea?
It's very much based in my immersion as a child in the love of cartoons. It's kind of what got me started as an artist. That and Dungeons & Dragons, honestly. Those 2 things.
Will, talk more about you.
I'm so thrilled to be included in this exhibition. I think it's worth saying that Mark was one of my favorite faculty I worked with at UTC, A lot of these artists in the show I can remember, are artists that Mark showed us in our presentations in drawing 1, 2, and 3, some of which became many of my heroes, not to mention Ed Templeton. Mark and I both have this shared history of skateboarders. Ed Templeton is one of the reasons, or biggest inspirations for me as an artist and a skateboarder. So being in a show with him is huge. Which is Amy Cutler is one of my heroes. So it's a pleasure to be included in this exhibition.
Jules, how about you?
I'm also so excited to be part of this exhibition. I am about to make a big transition. I'm about to move to Boulder, Colorado to get my Master of Fine Arts. And this is going to be, I think, the last show that I have in Chattanooga before I make that move. So this is really exciting, and it kind of marks that transition. I created an original painting for this show. As Mark was saying, I also take a lot of inspiration from animation and cartoons and comics. And I do think that playing with cartoon imagery and abstracting the figure in that way can help us approach serious subject matter in a way that feels playful and non-threatening. So that's something that I try to bring to all my work. But this piece, it's called Let Me In. It is one of my biggest pieces that I've done to date, and I created it specifically for this show. So I'm really excited to share it with everybody. Will and I are both big fans of Mark. Mark was one of my favorites too when I was here at UTC.
I'm blushing.
So we're very honored to be selected for this show.
And Mark, talk more about your role here at UTC and how that has informed this show and comes back around to the classroom.
One of the things that I'm a big believer in, I've been an educator for over 20 years here, and one of the things that I absolutely believe in is trying to connect with community. And I saw a really good opportunity for being able to get some of my favorite, I shouldn't say my favorite students, some very talented students. There's a couple others in the show too. Some very talented students to be able to be part of a community that's not just local, not just regional, but it's also national, even somewhat international in a way. We're dealing with some people in the show, like I would say Amy Cutler, who's in Faden's Vitamin D. We're looking at people like Amy Pleasant, who is a Guggenheim Fellow, as well as I would say Michael Scoggs is another Guggenheim Fellow. We have some pretty major hitters in the show. And so for me, it was very exciting for some of these big names saying yes, hanging out with some of these new names. And to me, it's kind of like a really wonderful way to create this community that we need to share some of the stuff that's being thought about. There's some really heavy stuff. And as Jules said, sometimes when we take a playful way or a playful approach to image making, dealing with serious subjects, sometimes we open the door a little bit wider for a bigger conversation.
And this is also hands-on art. As much as we hear about digital technology, as much as we hear about AI, when it comes to the type of art and the focus of this art, there's no replicating that.
Well, it's funny. Yes, I absolutely agree with that. And I think we have a pretty wide variety of artists in the show that are dealing with primarily drawing and painting, but also illustration practices. And in fact, one artist, Fend in particular, does a lot of digital work. And to me, I think this is a great way to kind of showcase all the various approaches to what we consider playful image making, but also getting people to pay attention to things that deserve our attention.
Absolutely. I just feel like if you directly address something that's serious, something that's hard to talk about, sometimes people just kind of instinctively withdraw from the conversation. So if you can wrap something serious inside of a joke, or if you can wrap something serious inside of play, it really invites people in, and it creates this space of vulnerability too. Shared vulnerability. So I think that that's really powerful. But yeah, I am really excited to be in this show with so many heavy hitters and so many of our heroes. And Mark has really done a great job of bridging that gap and creating those connections. So this is huge for us.
I do think it's interesting thinking about this illustrative cartoony quality that is coming up in contemporary artwork as we're being exposed to so many images through digital media all the time. I'm curious how something like AI will affect us in the future, where we have so much digital media, is it real, is it whatever, when we can just see cartoony, silly drawings that is undeniably human, right? How is a computer able to replicate a replication of a human? And can we achieve stupidness or silliness? It's those are core human qualities.
And we can. I think we have. A couple of times.
Yeah.
I think we have a history demonstrated over millennia of not only achieving but overachieving on some of those areas.
Yeah, I would say so. That reminds me of something called the masking effect, which is when you see a photorealistic drawing or a photorealistic image of some kind, your mind perceives it as other, as outside of yourself. Because we're inside of our own heads all the time, we perceive ourselves as abstract. So when you see an abstract figure, a cartoon, it feels more like yourself and your experience of being inside your own mind. So you can relate to it more.
Well said. The cartoon becomes a shell, right? It becomes kind of a vacuum in which you can assign, you get to fill in the blanks, so to speak. I think the more details you give, the more specific you become. Again, you create the other, you create a definitive image, but when you keep it kind of open and vague, then all of a sudden you're able to kind of project a little bit more of yourself into that equation.
All right. Mark, Jules, Will, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank
for
you very
having us.
much.
For more on Illustrating a Point and more exhibits opening Friday at Stoveworks, visit stoveworks.org. Chattanooga is a crossroads for locally grown music across genres. Artists and bands bend and blend those genres along the way in their own way. One example is Gato, a funk rock group with roots in jazz, progressive rock, and jam music. This weekend, the band opens Riverfront Nights, presented by Tennessee Valley Federal Credit Union on Saturday, starting at 6 p.m. at Ross's Landing in downtown Chattanooga. Adam Stone is the guitar player, singer, and band leader of Gato. Noah Prince is the bass player and songwriter for the group. Adam, Noah, thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Tell us more about Gato.
Gato is effectively the modern culmination of an old project that myself and the drummer had called Over Easy, which we played around town a ton. We did several interviews with Richard, and we ran into some copyright issues with that name, had to change the name, pivot a little bit, but the music's all the same. It's a lot of really good funk, progressive rock, jazz, blues, all the influences that we love. We've got like kind of a bluegrass chicken picking country song or two. It's all over the place. Like I said, it's the culmination of all the styles of music that we love and are inspired by, rolled and packaged into a nice, high energy, just really, really engaging set of music.
And how were each of you drawn to music?
For me, it started when I was really, really young, watching my older brother play with his high school jazz band. I mean, I kind of remember that moment I had when I was 7, like going to like my first live experience, and I kind of just always knew that I wanted to play music from like a really young age, and started out with choir and stuff like that, and then it slowly morphed into trumpet playing and then now bass playing.
For me, like a lot of Southern people, church was where I first kind of started to see live music and more contemporary like rock centric worship music. It's a lot of in the South, but I saw a killer guitar player at the church I grew up in, and I was like, maybe want to do that at some point. It looks pretty cool.
And then talk more about the influences that people hear when you perform and will hear at Riverfront Nights.
We get a lot. You guys really like Yes. They're one of my all-time favorite bands, so that's a huge compliment. You guys really like Rush. We love Rush. Herbie Hancock, Chick Corea vibes, Weather Report, so like that kind of like burgeoning jazz fusion era. We take a lot of influence from that, but then we also get like, hey, you guys just played like a bluesy funk song and then go into like a Megadeth-esque Metallica progressive metal riff. Like, what's up with that? And I like to think we blend it well, and it just kind of like shows the broad palette of what we're working with here.
Right, I mean, and it's a lot of those older influences mixed with more like modern sounds. We use like pedal boards with like lots of effects on it and stuff like that. I mean, Dopapod is a band that I've drawn a lot of inspiration from with our songwriting, and then also like Umphrey's McGee. I feel like if people out there don't know who they are, I feel like those are definitely two bands that we've drawn a lot of influence from that are like still more active and modern sound.
Yeah, you could say like the modern jazz, modern prog, modern jam, right? That's kind of where we're taking some of this influence from.
Let's talk about the setting for this by the river.
This will technically be our third time playing Riverfront Nights with this outfit. Like I said, previously the group was called Over Easy. I believe we did it twice under that name. Ran into the name change issues. Went through some personnel change issues as well. Not even issues, like, members come and go.
People come and go.
It's part of life. So this is the first time we are playing with this iteration of this group, and we're really excited. Riverfront's beautiful. It's hot this time of year, but it usually is nice and breezy down at the riverfront. I think there's kind of an overcast forecast for Saturday, but maybe that'll cool everybody down and we can heat that stage up and get ready for the Prince tribute group that follows us.
It's definitely my favorite spot to play. It's kind of eerily reminiscent of the local stage at Riverbend, which I wish that was still around. But if you're a local group, you're definitely hoping to get on Riverfront Nights for sure. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And then beyond this weekend's concert, what other plans does Gato have?
We have the Highland Park Porch Fest. We will be playing that with a lot of other really great local bands. If some private parties, we do like corporate gigs and stuff like that in between. But we will be taking a couple of songs into the studio with a good friend of ours to get some new, fresh material and capture this current sound of what this band is working with right now.
Who are some artists that you are each listening to now?
It goes all over the place. Right now, though, I will have to say Ozzy. I've been on a huge Ozzy, rest in peace. But like No More Tears, Dreamer, Mama, I'm Coming Home. Those are like all my favorite songs now. And it kind of like, there's no really real rhyme or reason to like who I'm listening to. And I think that is kind of reflected in our music because we go between so many different genres. I could be listening to like a R&B artist one day and then go to like a Broadway musical. Like it's really all over the place.
Literally same for me. Like on the way down here, I was listening to Christopher Cross, Snarky Puppy, Led Zeppelin was on, Pink Floyd was on, and there's some local groups that I've really been digging as well. There's a kind of new and coming band called Hard Luck that's like all the best parts of Allman Brothers, Leonard Skinner, and some like classic country vibes.
They're
just
awesome.
packaged. They're really great. They don't have anything recorded, but they've got stuff on their social media. So I'm a big fan of like local creators as well. So I'm just trying to give some love there too.
And for people who want to check out Gato at Riverfront Nights this Saturday, details at riverfrontnights.com. For people who want to follow the band beyond this weekend, where can they go online?
legatoband.com.
All right. Adam, Noah, thanks so much.
Thanks for having us, man.
You're a dreamer, one of a kind. Let loose your soul and free your mind while reality calls to you. Such an easy shame to see right through while you're stuck here waiting for a sign that will lead you down a line of abuse. You're a fool. You couldn't be more simple to use. Days and weeks seem to pass you by, muttered in music, a familiar silent dormant for so long. Hidden, suppressed, you know you're wrong. Educated, nothing more than whims and rhymes. Your purpose seems to fade with time. A futile task it is to hold on to what is clearly so long gone.
I'm Ray Bassett. Thanks for listening to Scenic Roots. We come to you from the studios of WUTC at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. Email us at scenicroots423@gmail.com. Follow us on social media at scenicroots423. Listen to us online anytime at WUTC.org and the WUTC app. Join us again next time for Scenic Roots.